is week 5. You remember that last week we did the VLOOKUP, and I believe that you enjoyed last week's class. So this week we might probably do this for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending on how fast we are. So we are going to be doing pivot tables and pivot charts. So, and I'm sure today we cannot create the dashboard today. So, but we'll create all those charts, all those tables today. And next week, I will teach you how to design a dashboard in Microsoft Excel. So how to design it, how you arrange your tables and stuff like that. But today, let's start with pivot tables and possibly pivot charts as well. So let's make a start. So I believe that you can see my screen. Is that right? I believe you can see my screen. Please put a yes for me to be sure that you can see my screen. You can see the Excel. You can see the Excel sheet. All right, thank you very much. So now this was the previous data we used last week. So I deliberately still left it so that we could still be using it and we could still use it today. You remember that we connected everything together in using the VLOOKUP. And so if we want to create pivot tables for this, how do we do that? So pivot tables and pivot charts is just for you to inform your stakeholders of the information about this data. You just want to inform stakeholders about the information about this data. So how do we go about that? That is, how do we go about creating pivot tables and pivot chart for this? So, for example, if they want to know, if your stakeholders, what gave rise to pivot tables is, for example, if your stakeholders want to know total sales per person, total sales per salesperson, they want to know sales per region. We are doing those calculations and filtering before, but there's a better way of doing it by using the pivot tables. And also, if possibly they want to know product performance, I've talked about salesperson's performance, region performance, and they want to compare the average of the average in which each salesperson also did per this data. Let's assume that this is the data for 1 year. And like I have said, this is a fake data. So you can see the updated fake data. So it's a fake data. So the first thing you do is to click on Insert. So when you click on Insert, you go to Pivot Tables and you click on From Table Range. So you can insert pivot tables from external data source or table range. So because our source here is the source of our data here is this table, which is the table range. So let me click on the table range. Now you can see that this is our sheet, which is sales data, and it has recognized this table here. Now, where do I want the pivot tables? Do I want it in the existing worksheet? No, because I'm going to create a lot of charts. Then I will now combine it into one pivot tables. Into one sheet. I will now design it into one sheet by creating a dashboard for it. So that is why I need this pivot table in another sheet, in another worksheet. So you can say you want it in the new sheet. You can say you want it in an existing sheet. So this is our source data. Then you click on OK. So you can see here that it has created a new sheet. So the first thing I want to calculate is I want to calculate the salesperson performance. That is total sales per salesperson. So if I want to calculate total sales per salesperson, how do I go about that? You can see that it has already given me the pivot table fields here. So I will need the salesperson. If I click on the salesperson, naturally, Excel has the capability of detecting what those values, what it should be. You can see here that I have filters, I have column, and I have values. And the last one here is rows. So naturally, Excel have the capability, when you click on any of these, Excel has the capability of detecting possibly where it should be. That is how Excel was built. So except if you want it in another place, that is when it will not go like that. So it has put my salesperson into rows, which is what I want. Then sales amount as values. So you can see here that I have all the performance, that is the sum of sales amounts per sales person, which is also like the total of the sales amount per person. So here you can change the value feed settings here. When you click on this place, you can change the value feed settings, and when you click on it, you can change it to sum, count, whichever one you want to change it to. Sum, count, average, maximum, but because we need sum, which is the total, then you click on number format there. So when you click on number format there, so you go to currency, because this system has already been configured in the UK. So that is why you have the symbol as pounds. So let's leave it as pounds and click OK. So you can see that we have the total amount of sales made by each of these sales people. These are the total amount of sales that are made by these sales people. Now, if, for example, we want to put a pivot chart for this, so look at where I clicked. I click on pivot chart here. So the most appropriate is to use a bar chart, and I will explain why. So let me click on the bar chart and click OK. We can see here that the bar chart explains better the data, but we can format further our bar chart. Now we are still going to combine all our charts together. So we can format further our bar chart. Now this is so when I click on this plus, so I want my chart title. I'm still going to give it a title. However, I want my data label on it, because when I'm creating dashboard, I'm not going to use this table. I'm going to make use of these columns. So do I need legend? No, I don't need legend. Let me click on legend back. Total that is here, I don't need it. So I can click it back. I don't need it. Do I need the green lines? No, I don't need the green lines. So, but I want the chart title to be there, but I'm still going to edit it. And I want the axis to be there as well, because the axis is, this is Y axis, this is X axis. Even if you did not do science, you did mathematics while you were in the secondary school, and you know that this is Y axis, this is X axis. So that is very clear. So because we need the names of those people, the names of the salesperson in the X axis, so it has to come here. So how do I format this further? What I'm having here which is sum of sales amount and salesperson. I don't need it, although I might still need it later, because this is like a form of, so if I don't need it, all I need to do is to click on the feed button here. So I'll click on it, I'll click on the pivot chart analyze, then click on the feed button. Then I will remove show value and remove show expand and remove show axis button. So then I can rename this as total sales per sales per salesperson. So now I can also format my title from this place. I can change the title, I can make it black, I can do all sorts of things to it. I can increase the text fonts, increase the text outline and the likes. Here I could make it shadow, but I just want to leave it like that because of our time. So I've drew the first one. Yeah, you can be dropping your questions if you don't understand what because I'm trying to see if I can continue. So you can be dropping your questions. So this is my first chart now, and this is informing my stakeholders that from this chart now, we can see that it was Alice that performed among all the sales people. He had the highest sales. Alice had the highest sales. Now you can see that this is well informed, other than looking at the table, because everybody can see the chart. That is why when you want to inform stakeholders, most of the time is very as in to make your instructions easy. It's very easy for you to give it to just draw the chart, because they are going to understand better, especially non-technical stakeholders, that is those that do not really have they don't have technical information about data and stuff like that. So indeed, this one is informing us that Alice has the total sales among all the salesperson, and the least sales is Jack. So if possibly they are not going to do appraiser, possibly it's Jack that will not do appraiser because he's not meeting his target. They might have set a target in this company that maybe the target is they have to make at least £5,000 in a month. That is, you have to make a sale of £5,000 in a month. So the only people that doesn't meet the threshold are Charlie and Jack. So you have informed your stakeholders in this place that Charlie and Jack are having low sales. So let's go back to that data. We could also, I'm still drawing simple ones. So that's why I said I'm going to save this worksheet. So we'll continue it next week and create a dashboard for it. So we could also look at sales per region. So that is, look at the total sales per region. So if we want to look at the total sales per region, so we still click on insert pivot tables, new worksheet. So I can rename this as total sales per, or let me say sales per region. Yeah, total sales per region. So total sales per region. So let me click on region now. You can see it has detected it as row. And let me click on the sales amount. So we have the sales amount there. So let's say, for example, let me draw something more like a bit more complex now. So let's say, for example, even though I want the total sales, I also want the average. So total, and let me say total and average sales. So let me use AVG. Total and average sales per region. So let me say that, for example, if I want average sales, so I will have to drag this sales amount here again. Then I can change the other one. I taught you that you can come here, you can click here and click value set, but you can also do it here. When you double click on it, you can change it to average. So if you want average, you can change it there. So you can change it to average. So average, so you can customize the name as average sales amount. Average sales, we don't even need amounts. Average sales. So here again, let's customize this as well as total sales. So here, like I said, you can also change the number format. Let me right click, change it to pounds. We are dealing with sales. So let me change it to currency. Pounds. Same as this. Change it to currency. So if I don't want it to have any decimal, so I want 0, I want it to round up everything for me because I want to know the average sales. So we have a region now. So even though this is okay, because looking at here, we have east, north, south, and west. So we have east, north, south, and west. So let's create a pivot chart for it. And we could make use of I'm looking for the no, I don't want that. I'm looking for a suitable one that will suit. Yeah, this is what I want. So now this is our legend. Now here, I will not remove the legend. The reason why I will not remove the legend is because so that it will inform our stakeholders that this red is average sales and the blue is total sales. So, but all the numbers that are here, I need to remove it because they are not needed. So how do I go about that? So when I click on this plus, go to axis. If I do this for everything, let me attempt to do this for everything. You will discover that it will remove the region for me. It will remove the west, south, north, east for me. So you can see. Then that means that what I'm doing is wrong because I can't see east, north, west. So let me click on it back. That means I have to click on this arrow. Then primary vertical, primary horizontal. So what I need to remove is the horizontal. So that still informs me of west, south, north, and east. So then I'll put the data labels. So you can see the data labels are there. And if you look at if you are informing the stakeholders now, the region that has the highest average sales is the north, while the region that has the highest total sales is the west. And the region that has the least sales, both the least and average sales, is the south. So if I want to remove all of these total sales, average sales region, just come to this field button, remove value, remove axis. So I want my title, I want my chart title. So I could put this here by saying average and total sales per region. Average and total sales per region. Let me see if we have any question. I still have more charts to draw. So that means we are understanding it. I can move on. All right, let me move on then. So this is the average and total sales per region. Now, let me go back to the data again. Another way is if we want to know our product performance, that is, we want to know the total sales for each of the products, the average sales for each of the products, let's start with the counts, that is, each product. How many of them were sold? Let's start with that. How many of these products were sold each? So let's start with that. So if we want to know that, click on pivot tables again. And I will click on the products and the sales amounts. So this, no. Now, I don't want it to be the amount yet because I want the count alone. So now here it informs me how many of the, so I can change this count to the total number of products sold. So topping the list here is now there's something that I've not taught you. You can show value here as grand total, show value as column total, and the likes. You can summarize the value also, which is also what I did. You can summarize the value. You can put in maximum, minimum, and all those things, blah, 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 like that. Now, here, I could also draw a pivot chart for it. So let me click on pivot charts. And let's use, should we use something like this? Now, let's use a line. Can we use a line? I'm coming. Will a line inform this very well? No, the line chart is not going to work. So let's not use a line chart. The line chart is not going to work. I think we are still going to use the bar chart or because of the way the data is. So we have tablet, phone, mouse, monitor, laptop, keyboard. So again, I don't need the legend. Remove the grid lines. I will edit the title. I want the data labels on top. So I want to remove the x-axis and as well, I want to remove the axis feed buttons and the value feed buttons. So this will be total number of products sold, total number of products sold, and let's add average to this as well. Total number and average of products sold. So let's put the average here as well. So if we want to put the average, so let me drag the sales amounts here. So here, average sales. Let me delete this. We are going to change that column. So average sales, then format these cells to currency. So this is the average. This is how the product performed. So let's draw a chart for it. And make use of these. Yeah, because now looking at this, you see that our total number is not appearing. So because it's not appearing, then it is not wise for us to draw it together because it's going to, so let me delete this. Let me remove it. So remove the field. So it's not wise for us to put it there. Reason being that the numbers here, it will not be visible to your stakeholders. So that's another thing you have to learn when you are drawing, when you are making your charts, because it's not going to make it visible to your stakeholders. So because it's not going to make it visible to your stakeholders, you have to look at the chart that is going to be visible to your stakeholders and which will be much more okay to your stakeholders, that if they pick it up, they will be able to understand it, even without you explaining it at all. That is very, very important. Yeah, let me remove that. So, and the feed button, axis, value. So here, let me change the title, total number of products sold. Total number of products sold. Yeah. So let me rename this sheet now. There are a lot of visualizations that we can still get from that. Total number of products sold. So let's now do a product performance that is average and the total number. So let's attempt to do them together. And we can compare it per region as well. That is looking at the products performance per region. So how can we go about that? Let's insert the pivot tables. So region, product. Then we have the sales amount. So here now, we have the performance per region, which is East. Now, I could decide to move it like that. And I could make these product filters as well. I could make the product filters as well, such that if I want only headphones, I could make it like that. If I want only keyboard, I could calculate it like that. So when we get to slicers, I will explain it to you. So to represent this now, if we want to represent this, how do we go about it? If we want to represent it in a pivot chart, so let me change this to average. Let's change it to average sales. Why is it not showing the South? Okay, because I didn't select all. So let me select all back. Okay, so let me change this back to, let me format this as pounds. So if you want to draw, you want to have a pivot chart for this now. Now, the reason why we cannot use pie chart, let me tell you the reason why we cannot use pie chart. Now, if I use a pie chart here now, they almost look alike, isn't it? One is only this one that is bigger than the rest. So they will not know the difference. Your visuals should be able to inform your stakeholders, either you are there or not. So it should not be the color. This one will not inform them that of which one has the highest average. So when you have a closely knitted, because some of you might be asking, why am I using bar chart and column chart alone? Now, it's because of the kind of data that we have, because all of these are not, all the data here are closely related together. They are closely related together. And there's something, I'm going to show you something about this, the pivot tables now. If I should add another data to our sales data, and I come here and refresh, it's going to come up. So that's why we cannot use a pie chart. So you have to be able to look at which chart is going to be, like for this kind of data, which chart is better for it. You need to be able to dictate it very well. So let me use a bar chart. And so let me remove legend, remove grid line, add data labels, remove the horizontal, then click back on this, go to design, feed button, axis, show value, show report field. So insert a slicer. So I want my slicer to be products. So you can see I have my slicer here. So if I want to know the average, so let me change this to average sales per region. So if I want to know the average sales per region of mouse, all I need to do is to click on mouse. You can see for mouse, there was no sales for East. So that is why we are not having any. So let me check that of phone. So I saw that phone was South as the South people in this data, they buy phones a lot. So this is how I can inform my stakeholders of what is going on. Keyboard, laptop, and tablets. So this is if I want to select all back. I'll click on Alt S. If I want only tablets alone, let me see if we have any question. Yes, how can we have multiple pivot tables on a single worksheet instead of opening? Yes, it's possible, or it's best to open multiple worksheets. Now, it's possible to have it on the same worksheet. However, I will say that is like for a learner, open multiple worksheets, then you can combine them together into a dashboard. That's what I'm going to advise. But if you want me to teach you how we can open it together on a worksheet, I'll teach you that as well. So that's not an issue. But for a learner, it is better to open different worksheets and have the charts. Then when you have it, you can now create a dashboard. So because if I want to create a dashboard, let me rename this as average sales per region. So if I want to create a dashboard now, all I need to do is to create another sheet here, rename it as dashboard. So rename it as dashboard. So I can copy my charts. Now, before copying my charts, I need to first of all design this. I need to first of all design my everything that is here, remove the grid lines. And that's why I said for the next 2 weeks, all I'm going to be doing will be on this visualization. That's what I'm going to be doing. So next week now, for the chart that we have created now, at the very least, I will format this. I will format it by removing all the lines here, give it color, then bring the charts together, design it in a way that will be more explicit and that will be more understanding to the stakeholders. So there's somebody that asked a question that I'm not sure I understood by saying, how did you move it? What did I move? I moved a lot of things. So what are you saying that I moved? I moved a lot of things. Please, can you clarify that? So how do you insert the slicer? So let me go back to the slicer again. So let me remove, let me cut it away. So how did I input the slicer? Now, I came back here, go to pivot pivot table analysis. I went to pivot table analysis and I clicked on insert slicer. Simple. I clicked on insert slicer. So when I click on insert slicer, I click on region. I click on products and I said, okay, this is the field that I want to be my slicer. I could also make my salesperson slicer as well. I could also make my salesperson slicer as well, but I want the product to be slicer for now. So that is why I click on it. And this is to select all. So if I want the printer alone, you can see, I'll be clicking on it. And I know that I'm selecting the printer. This is for tablets. And you send this data to the group again. It's in the group. Go and look at the data in the group. I will not send it again. Go and check. Scroll up. There are no much chat in the group. So scroll up. So if you attend last week's class, I expect you to form the data like that. So go and form it like that. Then you can practice. That's why I sent the previous data. So I'm not going to send it. Sorry. I've sent it last week. So go and check the group again. Go and check the group chat. Converting the data which was in column to row format during pivot. I didn't perform any magic. Oh, okay. Let me quickly create another one now. Let's say we want to calculate what else have we not done? We've calculated the total number of products sold, average sales per region, total and average sales per region. Okay, let's do like the count for region. So let me create another pivot tables and name these as the total number of products, total number of products per region. Now, this is what I did. So if I clicked on region here, and I said I can put my products here, or let me drag product here and drag region here. Then now put the sales. So what this gives me is that it gives me the total number of the total number of headphones. This is for east, this is for north, this is for south, and this is for west. So I didn't perform any magic. And I can put the filters here, which is also for east, west, and let me change this to total number now. So here, if I want south, this is what was sold in the south. If I want east, if I want to be informed about the east, this was what was sold in the east. So I didn't perform any magic. I just placed them in the column. I placed them on filter. So that was what I did. Yes, we can make region slicer. Why not? So insert slicer and click on region. So we have north, we have south, we have west, and we could also create a chart for this. We could also or leave it as a table. We could leave it as a table, and we could also create a chart for it. So let's attempt to create, but the numbers here are also similar. So if we want to create a pivot chart for it, the numbers there are also similar. So the best thing is still for us to use I could use something like this so that could vary. I could use something like that and remove the grid lines. I don't need the legend. Then remove the vertical and the field button. Remove the field button. Yeah. So what this is filtering now is this. So this is only for west. This is for east. This is for north. This is for south. And this is for west. So if I want to select everything back, so for multi-select is Alt S, which allows me to select everything. And let me put the data labels on top because that makes it easy to read. So I'm going to save this so that we can continue next week. All right, so I believe that you understand it now. So I'm going to save this now. So everything I did today was to create pivot tables, create pivot charts. However, if you are going to inform your stakeholders, you are not, it's not okay for you to just be having all the charts differently and you are opening it. So that is why you need to create a dashboard whereby you can use it to inform your stakeholders. So next week, that's what we are going to do. We are going to design the dashboard in Excel, removing grid lines, removing everything. And we are going to design a dashboard with the data that we have here. So that's what we are going to do next week. So like I said, I'm not sure if I've informed this class that I'm going to give you a project. I'm going to give the project next week, immediately after the class next week, because I believe that you should be able to, with all that I've taught you, you should be able to do it as from next week. So the announcement I gave on that I need some of you to be able to do video PR for me. Please, some of you have not responded. I need like 10 people and only few people have responded. So even if you did not read that in the announcement, that's why I'm making it again. So the data we have is for different years. And we want how we can create pivot for this. No, I sent this data last week. I will check. If it's not the data that I sent, if it's not the, I don't understand the different years you are talking about. Is it that it's having years or what? I don't understand the different years you are talking about. Can you ask the question again? If it's about the data, then don't worry, I will send it to the WhatsApp group. I'll send this data to the WhatsApp group then, if it's about the data. But I know that I sent it last week. I know I sent this data last week, and said you should use it to practice the VLOOKUP last week. I said you should use it to practice the VLOOKUP last week. So with that, we come to the end of this class. So please, if you are interested, it's not by force, but if you are, okay, you are saying assuming we have data for different years for this analysis, it's still the same way. If you want to create the data for different years, it's still the same way. Don't worry, this data, I will introduce year for it. I will introduce year for it by next week. I will save this, but I will introduce year for it next week. It's still the same way that we used to create it. We will test for year, look for total in those years, and depending on what our stakeholders want. So it's still the same work, but I will attempt to introduce a column that is year to this data. But it's still the same thing, and it still works the same. It still works the same. So thank you very much. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. So see you next week. Bye for now.